As things stood in the summer of '86, Marvel's first officially licensed cinema release was ready to hatch, and it was backed by George Lucas. If Mr. Star Wars was behind it, then surely this would be the film to realise Marvel's Hollywood dreams and get comic book adaptations back on track. Right? Right?
You know, he's the most exciting individual I've ever met. He isn't into the whole macho thing, but he knows who he is and what he wants. Everyone thinks of him as a hero now, but I share his feelings, and he's touched my soul. And right now, I would give anything to run my fingers through his feathers.
It was time for Howard the Duck. Lucas had been interested in adapting Howard the Duck, a Marvel comic starring the hard-smoking, occasionally hard-drinking, and usually grumpy title character for years. After Star Wars, his name could essentially get anything made, so Universal greenlit the project in an agreement with Marvel. Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz, Lucas's co-writers on American Graffiti, ended up directing and producing respectively, the latter along with Lucas, who had stepped down from his role as president of Lucasfilm to concentrate more on the production side. Originally planned as an animated movie, that was soon considered too time-consuming and expensive, and with Universal needing a major summer addition to their slate, Howard the Duck instead went into production as a live-action film, with Lucas's ILM handling the effects. As the script evolved, the film made numerous changes from the source material, and the cast was filled out by notable names like Tim Robbins as a scientist hoping to help Howard back to Duck World. Yes, Duck World. Leah Thompson, fresh off Back to the Future, took the role of his friend and love interest. Love interest. Stick with me here. An origin story charting Howard the Duck's arrival on Earth and the trio fighting off an alien invasion, production on the movie was notoriously difficult, with numerous different strategies tried to bring the Howard character to life, a tight schedule to deliver the movie for a summer release, and so much overtime that the actors would eventually get paid twice. It was a challenging idea to bring to the screen in 1986, and in hindsight they kind of managed it. In the end, they managed to deliver the film for release on August 1st of that year. It is said that when it was screened for Universal execs, they walked out without saying anything, and the reviews were far from kind when they arrived. From a monumental waste of time to simply an unfunny, effects-driven, story-deprived live-action film about a talking duck, and as bad as you've heard, actually it's worse, to George Lucas was the executive producer. The force was not with him. It was duck hunting season for the critics of the time. As the Washington Post surmised, as you watch Howard the Duck, you get the vivid sensation that you're watching not a movie, but a pile of money being poured down the drain. Almost inevitably, the film crash-landed at the box office as well, making it to third place in its opening weekend, behind Aliens and fellow newcomer Friday the 13th 6, Jason Does Something, dropping almost 50% the following week, and barely scratching a few $100,000 by week 4. Total worldwide takings of $37 million meant that Howard the Duck was a massive money loser and was considered a confused folly from all involved. Siskel and Ebert, of course, placed it on their worst of the year list.
Well, the producer of the picture was George Lucas, and he has a company that does special effects, and they did all these special effects. So maybe if they'd done a little more special effects, and whether they wanted to make a movie about a duck, maybe that would have been a good special effect, just all done right up here.
But really, is Howard the Duck that bad? Well, yes, in some ways it is, but I can't help but have a strange sense of admiration for it. It's all over the place tonally, features numerous interesting choices for a film presented as a family-friendly summer blockbuster, and veers far away from the source material. But it's also hugely ambitious, made and performed with full commitment, and the music and aesthetic are awesome. As a fascinating 80s pop culture moment, for me, it definitely has value to this day. The fact that it even exists is a good thing. It was, however, also seen as an undeniable, notorious failure, one which was covered for years to come in merciless detail. Leah Thompson and others have discussed how the film had a negative impact on their careers, at least in the short term, and director Hike and producer Gloria Katz left for Hawaii without reading any reviews. Hike would never direct a movie again. Thankfully, Howard the Duck has been re-evaluated somewhat over the decades. Alright, kind of. Moving on, at the time, Howard the Duck didn't exactly bode well for Marvel in Hollywood, and the comic book giant wouldn't have another adaptation of their work in North American cinemas for more than a decade. Lou Ferrigno's Incredible Hulk would return for a series of TV movies 2 years later, one of which added 4 to the mix, but movie rights for major names like Spider-Man and the X-Men would remain undeveloped, lost in a web of unfulfilled film options and legal issues. Not even the Hulk's own legal team could untangle that mess. Superhero stories would be cool again before the end of the 80s, but that renaissance would happen without Marvel.